Take a move.
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now! Justice!
Do you want to go through
Justice! I could do that! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now! The rain gang!
Stop the rain gang!
Stop the rain gang!
Stop the rain gang!
Stop the rain gang! Stop the rain gang! Stop the rain gang!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now! Yes!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
Here we are, louder girls, louder.
Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! Children! Save our 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 children!
We want a national equality!
Andy Burnham's out in Stockport. Andy Mac Police Commissioner's out as well. We're going to see if we can find somebody to come and speak to the group. It won't be outside, it will be inside. We'll not be able to wear it later. So keep up with the challenge.
You said what?
Save our children!
What do we want?
Justice!
Tell Jesus.
Now!
She's got, if anybody's got the right to stand here,
He's going to try and get some more.
You just want to be allowed to be I'm not thought she's on our premises, you can't be
Nobody wants to come and speak to us. Nobody will come and speak to us. I think we should stand up on the steps and tell them what we want. We've just informed the man what we, not happy. No representative from GMP or the Mayor of Manchester. That's where it's representative, so I think we need to stand and shout a bit louder. A bit louder. Come on, girls.
they refuse to come and speak to us. They claim that there's no consent.
One second, I need to get that.
Justice! Why do we want it now? What do we want? Justice! Why do we want it now? What do we want? Justice! Why do we want it now? What do we want? Justice! demanding! We're demanding the representative of the children of Manchester and the police commissioner to speak to us.
We want Burnham.
We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want Burnham. We want here to represent one child. Yes, child. Here is one child that been raped. Children are dying. Children are being raped, tortured.
Should be ashamed of themselves.
So what's brought you out here today?
These ladies have gathered today and it's Save Our Children, and we're hoping to get a national inquiry regarding the rape gangs, the grooming gangs and the any attacks on young girls. We do feel very strongly about this subject and we do want a national inquiry. We're hoping that the government at some point will listen, because we're hoping this goes from strength to strength. It's very upsetting, and when you hear the tales what the girls who've experienced this are speaking, it's heartrending.
Well, I certainly don't agree with what's going on. This for children's sake, really, because I think it's awful what's going on. Children are being groomed by gangs, and I just think the way the government have actually tried to cover all up is appalling. I mean, we've even been round to his office today, and he was all for it at one time, and then all of a sudden it seems to have been brushed under the carpet and nobody wants to know. So we've decided to try and make some influence somewhere. Whether it works, I don't know, but let's hope so. Because, you know, these poor kids from poorer families half the time are just, some of them are just schooled. So I just think I'm just appalled at all of it, and I hope we've made some small breakthrough today.
So, of course, we continue our fight against child abuse in the Greater Manchester and in the United Kingdom, and again we find ourselves here again today fighting for the same fight. You met me many years ago, Tony. I was doing this many years ago. We're still doing it. We're still in the same fight. It's just picking up speed now.
And for people who aren't aware, what is your organisation and what are some of the things that you've done in the past?
Excellent. I'm Billy Hower from Perks Against Grooming UK, and for the last 17 years we've been combating child abuse in the city of Rochdale, in the town of Rochdale and Oldham and further afield. We've been supporting survivors, catching paedophiles and going court to support. Many things we could do to try and prevent the abuse of children. That's what we've been trying to accomplish over the years.
It's just to join the protest for peacekeeping for the children of the grooming gangs, to just get together in protest that this should be dealt with the perpetrators of these gangs are not left. Like, justice needs to be seen to be done.
Do you believe that it's a predominantly Asian issue?
Asian. Well, it's predominantly a lot was going on in Oldham, wasn't it? And that is an Asian community. And I think I'm not just saying it's just Oldham, it's all over the world, but they are predominantly known for that particular grooming, so to speak. And if you look, the number of people that have been arrested is minimal to what's gone on.
And how would you reply to people who say 80% of the perpetrators of CSE are white male?
I'd need to see more evidence of that. It's not been my experience. I actually know of one or two young girls. I live near the Rochdale area, and in my experience of hearing it mouth to mouth, it's not been white, so I'm not sure where that's coming from at all. That's my personal opinion.
I would say that I'm not denying that they come from all races, but this particular march is against the Pakistani rape gangs, not grooming gangs, because it's targeted. It's targeted at a culture by a different culture, and that's how I feel about it.
Child abuse is child abuse. It doesn't have any race. This don't let people get mistaken. This isn't a fight about ethnicity. This is a fight against response. The response because of ethnicity. That's the problem here. That's what's happened here in the UK. Been failed because of the ethnicity of those doing the offending. That's not on those doing the offending. It's those that are in positions and get paid very well to make sure that doesn't happen. That's the problem. That's what we're fighting for, is accountability of those people, those failures and those responsible. That could have stopped this from happening in 2010 but chose not to because it was best for votes.
80? No, I would say no. The other way around probably. But as I say, it's all over the world. I mean, it's not just here in Manchester. There's been protests throughout the country, and let's hope that it's made a difference. I doubt it, but all you can do is try and keep trying.
How do you reply to people who say the second inquirer would block any action happening from the first inquirer, therefore we shouldn't have a second inquirer?
Second, third and fourth, I think, because we're just not getting anywhere. Nobody's taking any interest. They just keep sweeping it under the carpet, and you know, unless something's done, some of these kids, and especially from the poorer families, are going to go, well, it's just a shambles, complete shambles.
I cannot believe that, I really cannot, because to my understanding, public inquiry, the people involved are not obliged to appear in court. With a national one, very, very different, and they will be held accountable.
Well, I don't know about why that would be, so I can't really comment on that. So until that's made perfectly clear and transparent as to why, then I'd have to make an opinion on that after.
Recommendations from the first inquiry was never followed, so it's defunct. So there must be a second national inquiry covering all of the. So it's not just about tackling the grooming gangs, it's tackling the system, it's tackling the sexual offenders management unit, it's the justice, the sentencing, it's the full field we need to go at, it's the full lot we need looking at, not just who did it, who covered it up. It's about making sure it doesn't never be able to happen again in the United Kingdom.
What do you think about the Workers' Party and their election in Rochdale?
So I am actually working this moment with a Workers' Party councillor by the name of Farouk Ahmed, who was somebody who stood up back in 2010 asking for an inquiry. He's tabled a motion at Rochdale Council for a local independent inquiry into the abuse into Rochdale. So they're doing their bit as far as I can see in Rochdale.
Do you have any families or friends or personal connection to people with...
I haven't personally, but I do know people who have, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. Something needs to change, and it needs to change very quickly.
So I am a survivor myself of abuse, from historical abuse. I also work with many survivors from 2 of the 3 girls from the Rochdale grooming scandal. I work with them still to this day. I work with people from Oldham, which are here today. I work with people from Telford. I work with people from Barrow. So I'm trying to spread myself right across to offer my support to them all. But it's got to be them that do the fighting. You know what I mean?
And what do you think about the protests going down to Andy Burnham's office and blocking the front entrance?
I'm total agreement. I think it needs to make sure that everybody knows that everybody is serious about it, and it needs to be heard in, the upper circles of politics, so that at least something can be done.
And what action would you like to see from the government apart from the second inquiry?
I'd like the government to realise the enormity of the situation, and I would like them to, I don't know what action they actually could take, but I'd like them to do flaming something, at least listen to people and see how strongly it is felt. It's not going to go away, this. It's not going to go away, so they do need to do something.
What is some of the corruption do you believe is happening, and what is the root cause of it?
Good question. Votes, it's as simple as that. The quest for power and control, both locally and nationally, they're willing to do anything to get it. And if that means turning your back on a group of children that have been abused because you'll gain 10,000 votes through it, then that's what will be done. And that's what this Labour Party have been doing for many years, especially in my town of Rochdale. My town of Rochdale's a red wall. That's been for so long. Now we know why.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, let's hope we've made a difference and that we can get through to them. And I mean, once they're arrested or once they're caught, they get minimal sentences, and then they're back out again to do it all over again. And I think there should be longer sentences, and the government and the law should take that up, definitely.
On Saturday we're here again at 1:30 at St Peter's Square. Come and join us, because this one's going to be huge.